Hi, welcome to King County at your service. I'm Kimberly Hill. King County offers many resources. If you're a victim of domestic violence, you can come to the King County Courthouse to apply for a protection order. And not only will you find open doors, you'll find an advocate that will help you through the process.
I'm from Zambia. I was born and raised in Zambia. I was in an arranged marriage, which is very common back home. I was 16 years old. He was 42. And I was in arranged marriage because something which is arranged, there's no love. But unfortunately, you have no choice. You're a woman, you have to live with your husband regardless. Because I have to endure a lot of pain and a lot of challenges in my life, dealing with all this domestic violence and trying to find a better place for my kid and a good environment because I didn't want my kid to be exposed.
In the protection order office, we have open doors, so that means people can come in whenever.
I have to get the protection order in place. Then we came to the King County Courthouse, and then we came to this application to get the protection order.
Usually they're in crisis mode, like something has just happened, and we're usually the first person they tell their story to. So we try to make them feel as safe and comfortable as possible. A lot of times they'll come in with like bruises or marks from an incident that just happened. So we do like a lot of legal work helping them get protection orders, but we also do a lot of counseling as well.
And it's like I've never been in the court before, so I was like so scared, like how am I gonna cope, how I'm gonna do this, but the support that I had, and then it's just encouraged.
So we try to help people file orders to protect them from their abuser, and we walk them through that process and how it's going to be in court, and that we'll be there for them like every step of the way.
It was amazing because sometimes you don't really know about the laws and rules and how to get this protection order, so it's always good to have a guideline.
Well, I remember 30 years ago when this idea came up, we thought, well, this is a really great service to the public, but it's not traditional prosecutor role. You know, we charge cases and try people in court and get convictions. But it was the women who were behind this, Sherry Yates in particular, really convinced Norm Ailing at the time, who was the prosecutor, that this would save lives.
Prior to the program, they would go to the clerk's office and they would say, and sometimes they didn't know what to call it. I'm a domestic violence victim, I need to file for something. And they would be handed, as I said, 7 to 9 pages of paperwork.
And it can be really intimidating. There's a lot of check boxes and like legal jargon, and you're also in like a super heightened state of crisis and trauma. So you're just also not just thinking straight.
And if you didn't have a navigator to help you get from the front door to the court and to then make sure that that order is filed and gets in the hands of the police, that's really meaningless.
What was needed were advocates who could actually take the time, sit down and go through the paperwork, listen to the situation that the petitioners were going through, be able to assist them in completing the paperwork, as well as doing some safety planning and providing them resources in the community, because prior to advocates, none of that was done.
A lot of these survivors have never spoken about the abuse. So being able to have someone that they can trust, that believes them, that believes what they're saying, what they have gone through, is really important.
This is like probably the bravest act that they've done. And for you to be able to be there and support them is really huge.
The new element in the last year that we've added to the protection order program is the firearm removal portion of it. And so our advocates are now trained to begin to talk to petitioners when they come in the door. Are there guns in the house? Have you ever been threatened with them? Do you know what they are? We have pictures of them so they can try to identify what they look like. And we will go and ask the court to remove those firearms during the time that we know is most dangerous, during the separation period.
I think there's a much higher level of awareness. The questions that are being asked and the conversations that are happening are at a whole different level from when I started doing this work, and I think especially over the last couple of years.
So after all this separation, and I have my kids, I have protection order. That's given me the power and the strength, and I was like, okay, there's nothing to stop me from doing what I want. And now I'm so glad that I was part of this community where there's so much help, which is very grateful.
To find out more, visit protectionorder.org. Every year, hundreds of foster kids in King County are waiting to find a forever family. It's especially tough for teenagers who worry about aging out of the system without a place to go. But here's the story of one teenager whose future looks a whole lot brighter.
I first became part of the foster care system when I was 10 years old. It's been a long journey. 4 foster homes and 2 group homes. Some of them, you feel like you're part of a family. Some of them, you just feel like you're there for a little bit, never knowing how long it's going to last. It's a lot different than, being with your biological family.
We found Delante's profile online before we had ever met him, and the process, it takes so long, and we had known about him for months before he even knew that we existed.
My worst fear was aging out and then, not knowing where to go to next.
And that was my biggest fear. Is I'm like, I want this kid to know that he has a family that is interested in him before he ages out, because I can't even imagine as you get closer and closer to 18 how scary that is. We wanted him to know that you have an option. You don't have to worry about aging out.
I was given the opportunity and I was given the blessing to be adopted by this woman right here and my father. It never feels like I was adopted. It feels like a family. It's not like, hey, I met these strange people and they're just gonna adopt me. They made it feel like home.
I've always wanted to adopt, and there's obviously a lot of options for adoption. I mean, I'm 31, so I didn't really think that we would have teenagers, but there was just something about him that I felt like was right, and it's been a blessing. He's a great big brother. He's a huge help to us. He is still a kid though. He does, he wrestles with the kids and he pretends to be a velociraptor and chases our little guy around the house. But he has a huge heart. He's a great kid. Adoption is important to me because, it's a chance to get, to me, a second chance at life. And not many kids get that. I think it's a wonderful thing. Every kid deserves a happy home.
To find out more about foster adoptions in Washington, visit adoptuskids.org.
Government is supposed to be open to all of our constituents, but if you have hearing impairment, sometimes it's hard to know what your government is talking about or doing. We're not open to you. The hearing loop system will enable people with hearing aids to come to our meetings and automatically have the sound piped from our microphones right into their hearing aids so that they can easily hear and participate in their own government.
Loop systems are great because you don't need receivers, you don't need headsets. All you do is walk into a room and you're connected. And if you need to make adjustments to the frequency or the volume on your device, you just do it, and you're done.
It's much easier. The last time, of course, my husband, he couldn't hear at all.
I found the sound to be good. Everything was amazingly clear. I go to a lot of places and this system is working.
It's going to make a huge difference to our constituents who can participate now in our government in the way that others have been able to all along.
Thinking about a career in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math? Well, meet a few of the many women in the Water and Land Resources Division who are delivering clean water and healthy land for all of King County.
I care quite a bit about the region and its resources. I also had an interest in design, and so combining the environment with design led to landscape architecture as kind of a perfect fit.
So initially I always wanted to be some type of an IST, so an ecologist, a biologist. I took some classes with the university in wetlands, and that is what led me into stream and wetland restoration.
I was out in the middle of a wetland in class, transplanting bulrush and like knee deep in the muck, and I knew that right then that, working in an office setting and inside just wasn't gonna do it for me, that I needed to be in the field.
When I was doing my undergraduate work, I was getting a Bachelor of Civil and Environmental Engineering. The greatest challenge was that there were really only 10 women in my entire department, I guess, out of 100.
Construction is still a very male-dominated industry, and so it can be pretty intimidating to be on a construction site as the only female.
Before I got into the field, I actually didn't know any women in the field.
I think there's more opportunity for women today. I think we don't have to portray ourselves as being so strong as we used to be, that our femininity is no longer a handicap.
Practice, practice, practice talking in front of people. There's a lot to that in this type of career, being comfortable presenting and facilitating.
Do what you love, take opportunities when they come to you, and also try to achieve having a great home and work balance.
Really be curious and persistent, and I'd also say to stand up for yourself in the sense of being your own advocate in your career and in your future, and just taking that in your own hands.
Be determined, be qualified, and believe in yourself.
The Roads Department has a new team member who's a pretty big Seahawks fan. In fact, he's a very big Seahawks fan. Meet Matt.
A little over 200 people that work in roads maintenance all across the county, from Vashon Island all the way up to Skycomish.
At the King County Road Services Division in Renton, teamwork is key.
I have blue Fridays. As you can tell with my office, the walls are blue, and I have some green lamps, and everybody dresses in blue. We celebrate camaraderie that comes with supporting teams.
Matt is a new member of the Road Services team.
Oh, I do the invoices, statements, and recycling.
Primarily what we brought him on board for was to do the recycling route. Matt has his own cart, and he has a schedule where he will go around to the different buildings on different days, and he'll go around to all of the communal recycling bins, empty out the contents, put them in his cart, and then put everything into our recycling dumpsters on campus. So he gets to see the entire campus and everybody on the campus every week.
I really like my recycling route, and I work with nice people.
Matt is part of our supported employment program. Supported employment is a county program that matches candidates with developmental disabilities to county positions. It's called supported employment because candidates have the support of a state-funded job coach to help them with the onboarding and training process, and then throughout their tenure at King County.
The job coach was really instrumental when Matt first came on board, because I was able to talk to her and find out how we should structure the training.
The purpose of a job coach is to be able to provide support not only to the employee but also to the employer.
He's just a part of the family now, and people from frontline employees to management, they all love to interact with Matt, and I've just heard very positive things from everybody that he's interacted with.
Everybody knows Matt, and everybody says hi to Matt. Hi, Matt! Brings a lot of positivity, it boosts morale. He knows more people than I do on this campus.
He has a smile on his face, at all times, which I think is just so lovely, and he's delightful to be around.
I'm starting to get stronger abs because of all the laughing I do in the last several months. It's been great because he's just been a great addition to the team.
I like it. I like the people.
There are now 50 employees on the Supported Employment Program. Have you ever gone online and put a book on hold at the King County Library System and miraculously you can pick it up the very next day? Ever wonder how that happens so fast? Well, take a look at this.
This is the central hub for moving the collection between 49 branches of the library system. We'll sort between 7,500 and 8,500 items in just 1 hour. Patrons have the ability to request collection items regardless from what branch they're located in. Those items come through here and we send them to where the patron wants them. They can put a book on hold and it will likely be delivered to their branch in 24 hours. Back in 2005, the King County Library System invested in an automated material handling system to meet the expectations of both the library and our patron base, turning around the collection in 24 hours. We are just one of 2 library systems in the U.S. that have an automated sorter such as this. Innovation happens in the West. So our automated system consists of 3 components: automated conveyors, automated material handler, and the automated sorter. The key word for us is connections. As a library system, we want to make meaningful connections to diverse groups of people, offering them opportunity, services, resources. We have a circulation of well over 20 million items over the course of the year. It's the largest circulating library collection in the country. It is a very fulfilling role to be part of.
Did you know that King County used to have its very own mole? Yes, I did say mole, but it's probably not the kind of furry little animal that you're thinking about. Let's take a trip back into the archives.
Here's a riddle. What animal is taller than a giraffe and heavier than a blue whale? Give up? It's a mole. No, not that mole. This mole. Okay, so it's not actually a mole. But in 1968, the Cedar Hills Regional Landfill began using this mechanical beast to combat the enormous amounts of waste being deposited in King County.
It's surprisingly narrow and tall, and it has 4 tractor wheels, and then it's open at the top.
This archival footage from a 1960s promotional film demonstrates how it was used. Garbage is dumped into the mobile hopper, which would then compact 100 cubic yards of refuse at a time using 200 pounds per square inch of pressure to smash it into a block. It then extrudes the squeezed rubbish through the back of the experimental machine into a pre-dug ditch, 15 feet in the ground. The earth that was removed earlier to form the trench is then bulldozed back over the giant trash brick, and the garbage is never seen again.
Reflecting the time, there wasn't quite as much understanding about, garbage and waste and pollution, and so it ends with this optimistic vision of filling wetlands to create manufactured beauty spots.
Swampy areas could be reconstituted into worthwhile, usable land. The mole can be moved over substandard roads. It may be hidden behind an attractive enclosure right in the city, if need be, and transform untenable sections into functional beauty spots.
After engineers figured out that the soil at Cedar Hills wasn't suitable for the mole, its use was halted, and in August of 1973 it was auctioned off. According to legend, the buyer might have been a well-known movie studio, and this unusable behemoth may have been used as a prototype for another gigantic vehicle that you must have seen on the big screen. Does this look familiar? To read more about the mole and other historical treasures, go to kingcounty.gov and search archives.
Thanks for joining us for King County at your service. I'm Kimberly Hill. Visit us online at kingcounty.gov/KCTV. See you next time.